We want to welcome you into the Blueprint with Dr. David B. Mills. Yes, a brand new podcast. Listen, we are very excited about what God is going to do with this opportunity. Here at the Blueprint, we believe without a doubt that the Bible is the blueprint for life. It's the blueprint for our relationships, leadership, finances, as well as being a parent. And so I want to welcome you in. Welcome you in. We're going to be empowering men. This is a men's empowerment program, but also for the women that love them. So we want to encourage them. And the way we're going to get it done is simply this: is that number one, we're going to have this podcast that comes out once or twice a month. Then after that, we also have a Facebook page that you can go on. It's called The Blueprint. It's on Facebook. You can join that. Every day we send out a blast to men to encourage them to live out and walk out the ideal of the kingdom in their life. So we're excited about that also. Then it's also the ideal of this, that we have a YouTube channel that we're building up and working on, that men can go and get safe place to be able to be strengthened and built up in the ideal of who they are. We believe, and we're going to build men for this generation and for the next one to come. Along with that, our last thing is going to be a courtly empowerment in person. And we're going to use that to be able to strengthen men all over the nation. In every region we're going to be hitting. And we're going to be going there with leaders, with pastors, with business owners, all the above. And so we're excited about that. And I'm excited today because we get to begin with it. In case you don't know, my name is Dr. David B. Mills. I want to encourage you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, all over the place. We're there. Join us on our social media. We're going to be building men, and it's going to be an exciting time. I also want to let you know that I've been married for 33 and a half years to my wonderful wife, Bernadette. She's the girl from my world, my wife for life. I'm telling you, best friend to the end. Not only that, but I also have 5 incredible kids. Yeah, they're adults now, all millennials, business owners, leaders in their different backgrounds and that kind of stuff. Then also on top of that, I've been blessed to pastor through the Word Church here in Newcastle, Delaware. And it's powerful. God's doing a great work. Been doing that for 26 years. So we're not new to this. We're real to this. And so it's going to be a powerful time. And we're excited about all that's going to be happening. Welcome in. Come on in. Sit down. Pull down some paper. Get some stuff. Get some notes. Because we're going to help you as a man grow. And it's about building and giving you the blueprint for leadership, finances, relationships, as well as what it takes for a man to be a parent. I've been blessed, and I have a great guest with me to start this off with, and none other than my own pastor. My pastor is Dr. and Apostle Gilbert Coleman. I'm going to bring him in because we're going to be talking to him today, and it's going to be an awesome time. Welcome in, Apostle.
Hey, well, great afternoon, Dr. Dave, and what an absolute blessing and an honor it is for me to be able to share with you on the Blueprint, and especially for this inaugural episode, man. I am absolutely excited alongside of you, man, to see what God is going to do to continue to help empower men all across this nation.
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled just to have you around me for any reason. I'm gonna tell you that straight up. I'm gonna do the professional thing first, though. You are the Apostle Coleman has an apostolic anointing to be able to cover churches as well as pastors and leaders. Actually, I'm gonna tell you straight up. He's my pastor. He's my apostle. He's my father of the faith. I'm humbled and honored by this incredible man of character, integrity, family, purpose, wisdom, and kingdom. And so I've known him for over 30 years, actually. And I can't tell you another man that has his integrity and his character. And I mean that. Now, for the professional side, I want you to get that too, because he walks in that apostolic grace and favor. He's a presiding bishop of Freedom Worldwide Covenant of Ministries, also has been pastor of Freedom Bible Fellowship for over 30 years. Now his assignment is leading leaders and pastors, and men from all around the nation in many different ways. He's desired to be to see men fulfill their God-given roles as spiritual leaders, still maintains the conviction that the ideal of transforming the minds of men will always be a large part of his responsibilities. However, there comes a time we must all answer a call for new seasons of ministry. And the Lord's assignment in Dr. Coleman's life, and for this season, is to empower leaders and strengthen churches and engage the culture and manifest the kingdom of God on the earth. I'm telling you now, he's an incredible man of God. He's incredible. And I'm honored that you're with us, because when I think of the people that have changed my life, you are certainly one of them. I mean that.
And well, Dave, trust me, it has absolutely been an amazing journey that I've had with you and your beloved wife, Bern, and your family. Because of course I go all the way back to the very beginning of ministry with the two of you. In fact, before you ever put on the title pastor, that's how far back we go. And so I am. I tell you, man, every time I think of you guys, it is just so heartwarming to know that here you are. 26, 27 years later, and you're still doing an absolutely amazing work for the kingdom, not only just in this nation, but around the world.
Wow, we are humbled and honored, and thank you so much for that, Apostle. I mean that I want to go ahead and get to these questions because I want to just draw all that wisdom out that you have for our life, and I think it's going to bless a lot of people as they know what it is. My first question is this, of course, is the idea of understanding what do you think of when you think about the culture of manhood right now? What do you think about?
Well, I tell you, Dave, one of the things about manhood and this particular dispensation is that it's alarming.
Mm.
Alarming from the standpoint of the fact that the culture is doing everything that they can to feminize a man
Whew.
and to feminize when it comes to manhood. And it really has come to the place to where it is basically kind of an enigma at
Mm.
this point, to where we as a culture accept the fact that men now are portrayed as being very weak, being inept, and it's seemingly as if they need a woman to come alongside of them to rescue them and to help them to be able to do what it is that they're supposed to do as a man. Now, let me make sure I throw this out there because the women that will watch this, please know I'm not trying to suggest that a man was supposed to be superior in any way.
Come on.
However, he is God's priority.
Yes.
God's priority. There's no doubt about that because the Lord started with the man or the male factor first. And then, of course, the woman was not an afterthought because, of course, she was already inside the man, put the man to sleep. And after putting him to sleep, the Lord then goes inside of him and
Mm.
pulls the woman out and fashions her from a bone, which is absolutely miraculous in its concept. So no doubt then that a man and a woman are supposed to work in tandem with one another. However, God has given for that man to be the spiritual leader, to be the spiritual head. But the culture is doing everything they can to see to it that just becomes more of a matriarchal society as opposed to being
Mm.
patriarchal, as the way the Bible displays it.
Wow, wow! I so concur with you, and I do believe that there is an agenda as well as an assignment against the ideal of what that foundation of being a patriarch. I really do believe that, and I believe that without a doubt. Though, but God started it, like you said, and He uses it. And I'm looking around the culture, and I realize that there's dysfunction and diversion, but I also see the collateral damage from people not understanding who they are and what they've been called to be, particularly as men. What I mean? So we walking around confusion. We also do a lot of we do conquering versus cultivating.
Oh yes, absolutely, Dave. And then to think about it, Dave. You know how it is that in society, let's say, especially from what we consider to be the elites of
Mm.
society, the actors and the actresses and the athletes and the business people, and whenever it is that they are interviewed, normally the first expression is, "Hey, mom." And it always bothers me. I'm going to have to say it.
Wow.
It bothers me to no end that there's no recognition of that father, of that man who probably struggled greatly trying to make sure that that family was held together, especially when it came down to finances and so forth, paying
Yeah.
all the bills. And that's why there are many men who this day, and I've heard many of them talk to me about it, and
Yeah.
they said that they feel like nothing more than a glorified bill payer.
Mm. 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 That's what I tell them this. We more than an ATM.
Yes,
Amen.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
And so I so agree with you. I think the challenge to me is that, and then also the idea is that because sometimes as men we don't even know what our role is, our assignment in the earth is. We go out trying to dominate rather than trying to prepare for dominion. And I
Yes.
think if I don't know that, I think it's a lot of issues of, this conversation is not happening in the barbershop. This conversation is not happening in the locker room. This conversation is not even happening in the boardroom, honestly, of just who we are as men. And if I don't get my foundation right, destruction is inevitable. If I don't know the purpose of a thing, abuse is inevitable. So we end up abusing us, abusing our women, abusing our children, abusing our titles, abusing whatever we have because we don't know the purpose of it. And I think that's one of the greatest challenges that we have in the ideal of helping it. And that's even one of the reasons that I believe that Blueprint can help men in the ideal of it. I'm gonna be honest with you, Apostle. I was somewhere a couple of weeks ago, and I had and a young man, 24, stood up in a crowd of men and said this: "I am 24 years old. I'm about to graduate law school. What is it to be a man?"
Oh my goodness.
my head almost did like a 360.
About to explode. I
You
understand.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
How do you get to 24? How do you get through law school and you don't even know what a man is? That you don't know the character, the nature, the ideal of who we are and what it takes to operate in that place of a manhood, the word understand that creative mindset you're supposed to walk in and being a cultivator of everything that come in contact with you, and then live it out as a king in the kingdom. And so with no ideal, I just make my heart hurt it for him. You know what I mean? And so it's a challenge. And so on Blueprint, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing it in 4 different levels. One of them is we're going to be doing this podcast a couple times a month, as well as we're going to be do quarterly empowerments. And so we'll do them in different places with apostles, with pastors, other pastors, other business owners that are going to come in, other professionals going to come in and help us build these things out to give us some of the things we wouldn't have got in school. We probably didn't get on the corner. We didn't get in the neighborhood. I need to know what a relationship is. I need to know how to manage finances. I need to know what leadership is. I even need to know what it is to be a parent. So today, help me with
Hey,
help
oh
me
my
with.
gosh. My God, you're absolutely right. And because, if I can say, if I can rewind just for a second,
Sure, sure.
um, because one of the things, as you were talking about this young 24-year-old man, um,
Hmm.
many of our households now, particularly in the African American community, and the majority of our homes now, the statistic is that 70% of our homes are led by a single female.
Mm,
70%. So therefore, the majority of our homes are fatherless. There is no
mm,
dad there.
mm.
Or the dad was nothing more than what I've heard the women now call him, a sperm donor.
Wow.
Okay. And they said all he did was donate the sperm and then he took off after that. And so many of these women are left to fend for themselves and to try to raise these boys. But the reality is, though, is that they raise their girls, they raise
Mm,
their girls,
mm.
but all they do is guide their sons.
Mercy.
So
You
they
said you
raise the
said
girls,
powerful.
okay, because of the fact that unfortunately, of course, ladies, again, I have to say this with all humility, and that is that a woman cannot make a man. She can't make a man. All that she can do is come up with her version of a man.
Mm,
And her version of a man is also going to be incumbent upon as to what kind of a relationship, like you were talking a moment ago, what kind of relationship has she had with a man or with men, and is that going to be projected onto her son?
wow. That's major by itself, Apostle. I mean that. Is it going to be projected? And because if she was hurt, she's going to convey some hurt. And
Exactly what I'm talking about.
if she got some bitterness, there is some bitter issues going to come out of
Yes,
that.
sir.
Because whatever's in our heart is going to flow out into everybody else is tied to us. And then some of those issues also become, if she didn't have a father, I don't know what
That's the
that
other
is.
side of that.
And then how are her relationships with the males in her life? It has a lot to do with that. And I think the best thing a woman could do is take the boy and put him around healthy, strong, mature men. And I think that's major because I think this issue of relationship is so key because I think sometimes I know for me, I came from the hood and the only thing they taught me to do was lust. They never taught me how to love.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so they
Hey,
didn't teach me
hey,
how.
hey,
It,
actually, I'm a witness. I'm a witness.
you know
My
what I
my
mean?
my
So
father, my
mm,
father, same thing. My father, same thing. My so-called what we call the birds and the
mm,
bees talk. My father used to cut out hair, and
mhm.
so one day he's cutting my hair. I'm 15 years old, and so in the middle of the haircut, he says, "Well, son," he said, "I know that you're 15 years old now, and that you're starting to date. So look, when you go out here, just make sure you have something in your pocket. You know what I mean, right?" I said, "Yes, sir. I know what you mean." End of conversation.
Wow, wow,
End of conversation. He
wow.
never said another word to me about anything as related to how I'm supposed to carry myself when I go outside of my home. And basically, what he was doing was giving me a license for promiscuity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna be honest. At least you got to talk.
You didn't get one.
I
Oh my God.
get that.
Wow.
Wow, so I grew up in a single parent project home, and what I saw around me was everybody had an uncle, but nobody had a father. Okay, so,
Yes,
so
yes, yes,
but
yes.
my problem was all the uncles was committing incest with the person they said that wasn't their right girl. I'm like, this is confusing to me. And I grew up in a project of 300 families, and I only remember 4 husbands.
My God.
Yeah, so you know my whole concept of manhood was jacked up. So I
Oh
know it
yeah.
was used and abused. It wasn't love. It was just lust them. And then learning the ideal that really God wants me to learn how to love my wife, love her mind, love her heart, love her spirit, love her purpose, love her gifts, love her talents, love her spirit, love her heart, love her mind. And I'm like, man, I'm supposed to make love to all of that. He said, all of it. You know what I mean? And not
Yes.
just parts of her, but how to love all of her.
All
And
of
that's not that conversation that you're gonna get on the corner or at the game or in the barbershop.
You are absolutely right, Dave. That does not happen in the majority of our households. And also that's a conversation, like we were saying previously, that is not going to be held between a young man and his mother, or his
Mm,
auntie,
mm,
or whoever his guardian may be. That's not a conversation that they're going to hold, because in most instances, she will be very uncomfortable trying to have that kind of a conversation with that young man. And
mm.
so, as you said, then what he's going to do. And then, of course, many men will applaud what the boy is doing because they say, "Oh, well, he's just sowing his wild oats."
Oh my.
He'll get it straightened out one day. Not so, because of the fact that he carries that same mentality or that mindset into his adulthood, and does
Yes.
not ever know what honest relationship ever looks like. Because, as you said, he's not in love; he's in lust.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and so
Uh,
he's a David, he's a Solomon, he's a Samson.
yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Following right in these guys' footsteps.
Yeah, and I think the other side of it is with that, when I don't know what I'm called to be as a man, I end up creating chaos. I end up creating collateral damage. I end up, what I mean, both, not just not just children, but mental emotional issues that then somebody else got to get past what you did to them before they even get to their husband.
Yes,
And then we wonder why the one of them is bitter. Well, the other brothers that was before you, you know what
yes,
I
sir. That's
mean?
exactly
And
right.
without the intent of cultivating, without the intent of being creative and covering her, that wasn't the mindset. And so the challenge for me is helping our brothers, and I think that's why Blueprint is going to be necessary and is necessary. Let me ask you a question: how did you learn how to do relationship?
Oh my goodness. Um, it was after many failed attempts. Let's put it that way. Let me make sure that I put that out there.
Come on, come
Yeah, it was
on,
after many failed attempts,
come on.
and ultimately, I came to the place to where, um, as you said, I came to a place where I confronted myself, and
Mm,
I confronted
mm.
myself to the point to where I'm saying, man, think about this. All you're doing is utilizing or using these women. You're making them nothing more than a dumping station,
That's
and
it.
I'm dumping my seed in them. And
Wow.
then I'm looking at the scriptures. When I finally came to myself as the
Yeah, yeah,
prodigal son, I
yeah,
finally came to myself.
yeah.
And once I came to myself, um, then I'm realizing that, hey, you're abusing these women, like you're saying, Dave. Good word, collateral damage is what you're doing. Impregnating women, and then demanding that they have an abortion.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so look at the mental abuse that is being called, the scars that are being placed on this woman's mind and her heart. And
yeah.
I've got to the place where I realized, hey, look, man, you just cannot continue to do this, any longer. And you got to learn how to honor, but more than anything else, learn how to respect
Come
a
on,
woman and stop looking at her as an opportunity.
mercy. I look. You said so much there, Apostle, because I think that is. It's literally that we have. I didn't know how to love nobody until I got to Jesus. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I
I just
understand.
I just used everybody, abused everybody, and it was about my satisfaction, not about a vision, not about a purpose, not about a kingdom, because I didn't know nothing about that.
Didn't know
And
nothing
not
about it.
until not until I came to church did I see something different. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you the first thing that confused me was I lived in a project. I was Will Smith of Chester, and so I lived on the, I lived on the west side. My mom got frustrated with me in 8th grade, told me to go to my uncle's house on the east side.
Wow.
I went to the east side, right? Got to the east side, and in my uncle's house, I came there, and he was the first dude I ever seen stay with a woman more than one night.
Oh my gosh.
He was married.
Yeah.
I was
Wow.
the second or third day, I was like, he's still here. You know, my paradigm was jacked up just from consistency.
I
That alone.
understand. I understand.
And so I was like, this is different. He ain't going nowhere. He here every day. He like acting like he love her. What is that? And so he literally was, and he didn't know Christ, but he knew what marriage was. Didn't even go to
Yes.
church. Didn't go to church. But he knew he wanted to be married. And he literally stayed in that house all of his life till his death. And what that said to me was there is something different. And so then I ended up going to church, and then I went to the church and they started talking about what a kingdom man was. I was like, oh my God, I ain't that.
But Dave, for me, I never heard anything about kingdom.
Mm,
I imagine until I was at least in my 40s. At least I was in my 40s. I had to at least be in my 40s
yeah.
because prior to that, it was always when we all get to heaven, what a day of
Mm,
rejoicing is going to be.
mm,
And we're going to, walk all over God's heaven with our long white robes and our golden slippers. And I'm gonna sit down by the banks of the river, and I won't be back no more.
mm.
So that's what I was indoctrinated with,
Yeah,
and it wasn't until um, I would say the Lord, because now I know that it was the Lord. The
yeah,
Lord
yeah, yeah.
grabbed my attention and said, "Son, there's more than this. There's so
Come
much more
on.
than this." And in order for me to attain to that, I had to leave where my father and my mother were, with the church that they
Yeah.
raised us up in for years, and I had to leave them there and go in search of what it is that I was looking for. Because I said I knew that there had to be so much more, because now I'm raised in the church. Now, this is the difference
Yeah,
in my paradigm.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
raised in the church from the time I was 6 years old, but
Wow.
I had to go into the military because of the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
I go into the military in the Vietnam War, and oh my gosh, now I got a real field day because I leave home and I end up in Tokyo, Japan.
Woo.
And I'm there in Japan, and oh my gosh, like
That's
I
oh
said, I
Lord.
was having a ball. I'm telling you, and then I ended up in the music industry, and all
Wow.
that did was make it even worse.
Wow.
What's in the music industry made it even worse. And it wasn't until the Spirit of the Lord grabbed my attention.
Mm,
My sister, my oldest sister, she was dying, and she was dying of cancer. She had
mm,
abdominal cancer.
mm,
She told my mom that she wanted me to please come home. Said,
mm.
"Please, mom, ask him to please come home." And
Wow.
so I heeded what she said. I came home, but it was only after I made another stop. I had to I made another stop with another group,
Oh yeah.
thinking that I'm gonna get me some ducats,
Yeah, yeah.
before I come back up on the scene.
Mm,
And that fizzled out. And so I promised the Lord, I said, "Hey, look, if you get me back home, Lord," I said,
mm.
"I'll get home, and I promise you, I'll get to your house and I ain't coming back out." And I thank God, man, that once I got there, I never looked back.
Wow.
But
Mm.
it took him bringing me all the way down again to the prodigal son. I
Yeah.
ended up in the pig pen.
Look, look. He has a way of pulling us all back when he wants us. Mine's a little different, Pastor. I went away to the military. Like you said, California. I did everything that California people do. Praise God.
Oh yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
I even had a jury curl. Don't even ask about that, Apostle.
Oh
But
my
anyway.
goodness. Okay. Wow.
But I came home one time. I scared my mom. She knew who I was at the door. I had a
Oh
jerry
my
curl.
goodness.
I had earrings hanging down from both ears. I had gold on every finger. I mean, it was a mess, man. It was a mess. I was like 245 pounds, swole up, everything. She was like, uh, come on in, baby, I think. But my psyche had been just jacked up and messed up. And then, believe it or not, Byrne asked me to go to church because we were still friends. So Cheryl was in town. She said, "Hey, why don't you go to church with me?" I said, "Nah, I ain't going to church. It'll blow up if I walk in there." I walked in that church. That man was preaching what a kingdom man is. I said, "You set
Oh
me
my
up.
goodness.
You told him I was so mad. I was
Yeah,
told
it
you
was
told him I was
he
coming.
said it had to be a
You told
setup.
And then that same weekend, she asked me, she said, matter of fact, when I went to church with her that night, I had 4 friends I hung out with in the neighborhood all the time. And we always would take my uncle's car, drive, hang out, go get drugs, go get beer, go get drunk, whatever. And they had said, we'll come by, pick you up on Friday. I said, no, I'm going to go to church with Bern. We just want to hang out with her because I told her I would. I came back home from church. All 4 of them were shot.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I was the fighter, which would have mean I probably would have been gone.
Shot too.
Yeah. So my friend Doc, he got paralyzed from the neck down. Another Clyde, he got shot in the arm. Rob shot in the shoulder. Another one, he just whizzed by him and just got his shoulder for something. It's in that same night. My mom has a heart attack. My uncle goes into a stroke. All this is going on the same night.
Okay, simultaneously, yeah.
The same night. You know how you find Jesus when you like, I ain't got nothing.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Have a kumbaya moment. I hear you.
Look, man, I dropped to the floor and said, Jesus, if you real, save them, and you got me for the rest of my life.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
The next morning, I get up. Doc, that was paralyzed from the shoulders down, he's sitting up talking.
Okay.
Arms moving and everything. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
The bullet that moved out of Rob's arm and it came out. They got that out. Out the shoulder of the other one. They got him saved. They good. My mom came back from the stroke. My uncle came back from the heart attack. And I'm like, okay, you got
me. Yes, sir.
And you got me. And that's what shifted me in that one night. I had my own. I don't know if that was a well or not for Jonah, but it was a major thing for David.
Yes, sir. I understand. I definitely understand that.
But after that point, I started going to Bible study. I started going, and they had a men's group. I think the thing that really helped me was the church that they went to. They had a men's group, and it was men that were living for the kingdom, not perfect, but they were pursuing God like never before. And I didn't know what that looked like. And they were, not living with nobody. They were single. They were married. They were living. They went shacking. They went sneaking. And I was like, what kind of men are y'all? And they were like, we godly men. I'm like, I like that. How you do that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so, and then we ended up going to, I know you're going to remember this name when I say it, Dr. Willie Richardson.
Oh, absolutely.
He had a family conference. And I went to one of them and my mind was blown. Because I was like, oh, this is a whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
So me and Bird went to them on a regular basis, and it changed my whole perspective of what it was to be a man, what it was to be a husband, what it was to be a father. I'm like, there's a blueprint for this? Yeah, it's the word of God. Help me out, Pastor.
And Dave, I tell you what, man, I so concur with what you are sharing, because it wasn't until I became, I guess, involved with men such as Dr. Richardson and some others, who had ministry to men, because growing up in the Baptist church, that was non-existent. Even though when I did come back to the Lord and I went back to the church. So at this time though, I'm singing with the male chorus at the church. I'm a junior deacon.
Wow.
So, I mean, I'm coming into those kind of spaces. So I was around the older men all the time. Wow. However, them older men, they were still shifty.
Yeah.
I understand. And then I had one conversation with one of the deacons of the church, Deacon Warren Evans. I'll never forget him, man. And so getting ready to leave church this one particular day, and I'm getting ready to go out of the door, he stopped me, and everybody called me Junior in those days. He said, Junior, he said, I want to say something to you. He said, I'm going to advise you this way. He said, don't be like your father.
Wow.
Now, I was right, because I'm saying, my dad, you're telling me that I should not try to be like my father? Wow. He said, no, don't be like your father. He said, your father could have been a man that had great impact and influence in this church. He said, but he won't listen to nobody, and he's doing things that he absolutely should not be doing. Don't you dare let yourself be like him. And so with that, now I got to change my landscape. I got to change where I'm looking, who I'm looking to, because the assistant pastor of the church, well, no, first the pastor, his son and I, and the assistant pastor's son, we're running together, and both of them is treacherous, you know, and so therefore I now have no place where I can learn manhood.
Mm.
And now mentioning people like Dr. Richardson, this is now years later
Yeah.
when I finally understand that there is another way to do this.
Yeah.
That there's a godly blueprint, if
Mm.
you will, a godly blueprint that we're supposed to be utilizing to be a man of God, not
Yeah.
just a man.
Yeah. That's huge. And I think that's so that and it was always amazing to me is, how God will patiently but graciously bring us to a convicting place.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, yes, yes, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
You know,
That literally that you have to convict, you have to walk in that conviction. I mean, no, that faith comes by hearing, but the truth came by and it just messed me up. And I was like, I was almost mad at Byrne. Because matter of fact, I was crying all the way home from church that day. I remember I was
oh my God.
crying because I was both mad at her and mad at God because he
The man
got
of
me.
God, yeah. How would you dare expose me like that, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Right, but I knew it was right, and then he began changing my heart, my mind, my thoughts. I actually went back to California, and Apostle, be straight up with you. I was the slush guy on the boat, so I was
Okay.
the bank. I was the bank when people was broke, and so
I
I
got
was
you.
all, and I was paying for weekends, all kinds of stuff. Man, I got back to the boat. I couldn't go back out no more, and I couldn't even explain why.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow.
He just took over my whole heart, my mind. The only thing I want to do is read the Bible and lay in the bed. They said, "You off of work? You going out Friday?" No, I'm just going to read this Bible. That's all you're going to do? Yeah. You're not going to pay for us? No.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah,
you- you-
but
and
Dave,
look,
for
I was
me,
still saying, "Hey, y'all need some money though?" Yeah, I'll give you 100 for 200. Here you go.
again,
Now
hey,
the business, I was doing the business with the Bible,
you're,
but it,
you're the business with the and the Bible. Oh my gosh. But you know, because Dave, I tell you, man, in the interim of all this other stuff that had happened to me, I also ended up married.
okay,
I ended up married, only stayed married 4 years,
okay.
because again, I don't know what responsibility is, you know,
Mm,
and
mm.
I got a wife and now I got 2 kids and ended up divorced. We divorced, and then my son and I came back to the East Coast because I was in California
Wow,
and I stayed in California for 7 years.
wow,
A part of I was still in the music industry,
yeah,
but I came back to Philadelphia, me and my son, and then my daughter wanted to come and visit one Christmas holiday, so she came and she decided she didn't want to go back to California to be with her mom, and so now I gotta take care of both my kids.
wow.
Well, I had to grow up in a hurry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had to grow up in a hurry because now I got both my kids, and especially I got a 10-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son. And man, like I said, if you think that you can't grow up in a hurry, trust me,
Yeah, I
have
think
some kids.
they changed a whole lot of choices you had there.
Oh my God, it changed all my choices. All my choices. And now I have to make decisions
Wow.
based on purpose. Based on
Yes.
purpose and making sure that I can safeguard these kids, that
I
I have
love it.
because now they're in my care. And now I'm hearing from the Bible that the Lord says that I'm responsible for these kids.
Yeah.
If anything happened to them, he ain't gonna look at them, he coming to me.
Come on.
You know what I mean? And so
Come on.
undoubtedly it changed everything about the way that I began to look at life, and so now, thank the Lord, married to the woman that I've been living with now for the last 38 years.
Hallelujah.
Right? That's my permanent girlfriend. Thank the Lord for it.
Come
You
on.
know,
Come on,
you know what I'm
Apostle.
saying?
Yes, sir.
But like I said, if I guess now I'm looking back in retrospect, if all of those things had not happened to me, I might not have the kind of understanding that I have today.
I understand. I clearly understand. I think all those things help me. And I think this is what I wanted. I'm right. A matter of fact, I came back from that event I told you about. On the way home, I wrote an ebook. It's called From Malehood to Manhood.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Because I realized that we don't give men process. We don't give men steps. We don't give. How do I get there? And you're gonna pass from. Yeah, we all come here as male, but you got to become a man. Paul says,
Yes,
listen,
sir.
what is a child? I thought as a child and I acted as a child, but when I became a man, so I come here as a male, but I got to become a man.
Yes, sir.
And I got to go through them steps of boyhood, childhood, young adulthood, manhood, then hopefully a husband, then fatherhood, then a man that's grand. There are actually some points that we all will hit if we stay alive. But I need to know what they are. And then I need people that will tell me the truth about the transitions of them.
Oh yeah.
Because
Oh yeah.
that's a whole nother issue by itself.
Absolutely.
If I ask you, I say, give me two major things you think that would help people have a great relationship. What would they be?
Whew, boy, I tell you, man, that we could be there for the rest of the day. But when it comes down to me, first of all, we have got to desire meaningful,
Mm,
solid, and long-lasting relationships,
come on.
and we've got to be intentional about our relationships. It is amazing to me how when we were younger, as we both have been saying,
Yeah.
when we were younger, having a road buddy, have dudes around us on a regular basis was no thing. I mean, some of the guys came over to the house and they come to the house and dad and mom know them so well, they can go straight to the refrigerator, get anything
Yeah,
they
yeah,
want,
yeah.
because they like family. And
Mm,
because of the fact that we were very community oriented in those days.
mm-hmm.
And of course, moving now into this new generation, we've lost all of that. We don't
Mm,
have the community anymore. And so
mm,
therefore relationships are not intentional. And most men today can't even on one finger
yeah.
say that they have a good best friend.
Mm.
All because of the fact also that if we're going to have real, true, solid, meaningful relationship, there has to be accountability.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah,
I
there has
love
to be accountability. We've got to be accountable and to have someone in our life who can speak truth to me and say what they see about me that may be a flaw or a deficiency in my life. And when they say it, I don't get mad because they said it.
Come on, Apostle. Listen, you said a mouthful right there. And I think every man needs that. I don't care who you are, I don't care what level you are. I mean, we watch the people fall in society right now because I believe they don't have that. I don't
That's
have
the
somebody
truth.
to keep me accountable. I don't have somebody that's gonna, give me the T's: responsibility, accountability, integrity, loyalty. I tell them all the time, boys do I, but men do T's.
Yes, sir.
We got to
Yes,
do
sir.
loyalty. We got to do accountability. We got to do responsibility. We got to do this thing called integrity. And if we do those, then our communities will be better. Our families will be better. But unless we open ourselves up to that, and I think pride, selfishness, a lack of understanding whole and healed authority. I'm gonna put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because some
Yeah,
people
for
got
sure.
authority, but they use it in the wrong way. But when people have, a whole and healed authority, I'm not just trying to cover you. I'm trying to help you be the best person you possibly can be. And if I got to be your cut man, your mentor, your teacher, your counselor, I'm willing to be that. But I need your permission to do that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, definitely need the permission, and to come to a place to where we are open to someone else. Similarly to the David and Jonathan relationship,
Mm,
where the Bible says that the relationship between those two men was so strong that David said that it was stronger than the love for a woman.
come on.
Now, we have to understand though, there was absolutely nothing homosexual
Right.
about
Come
either
on.
one of
Come
these
on.
men because they
Like the way
met
you put
as
that, sir.
warriors. They met as warriors on the battlefield. So therefore, there was nothing homosexual about their relationship. They just loved each other genuinely that way. And unfortunately, many men won't allow themselves to love another man
Mm,
that deeply because of the fact of their homophobic mindset. I think that
mm,
somehow or another that it lends itself to something that is homosexual or perverted in its construction rather. But the bottom line though is that it's not that at all. It's just the fact that you are willing to be vulnerable and transparent.
yes.
Because if we're going to
Yeah.
have real relationship, also you got to be transparent.
Yes, sir.
You got to put it out there. Hey, look, if you know that you got an anger problem, if you know you still got a lust problem, you're dealing with pornography, you're spending money all over the place,
Yeah.
hiding money, the wife don't know it, all that
Come
kind
on.
of stuff, man. If these are issues in your life, you got to be transparent and be willing to admit it and let somebody help you.
Wow. That you didn't heal half the men I know. All right. Anyway.
Okay.
No, I mean it. I mean it, and I think that and in that transparency, that's why I call you. I call you. Hey,
Yeah,
I'm going through something. Hey, me and Bern going through something. Hey, I'm dealing with something, but I do that because that's what's going to keep me. And I
exactly.
think that's a part of being able to be walk in humility, but also really wanting to say, make sure my family's safe, my ministry's safe, my destiny is safe. But I'm not the only one that can do that. I need somebody to be a destiny helper with me. Somebody that can be a man or woman of influence. Somebody can be a vision carrier along with me to help me do the things and grow, and have that have that accountability to be able to walk this thing out. Wow, Apostle, I'm trying to tell you, you blessed me today. You blessed me
Hey,
already
it's
today.
been a
I
blessing
want to I want to
being.
ask you a couple more questions before I let you go. Though I'm going to let you a
Yes,
couple more
sir.
questions.
Yes,
One of them
sir.
is this: is the other area I think men struggle with is the ideal of leadership, and I know without a doubt that there's a brand new book you got. So I'm gonna need you to ask you questions on this Ultimate Leader by Bishop Coleman. Help me and
Yes,
give me a little bit
it
about
right here,
that. The
y'all.
Ultimate Leader. Help us with what that means. What's a leader, and then tell me about the book.
Okay, well, a leader is an individual who's not trying to be in control of others, but
Mm,
helping but teaching other people how to control themselves through self leadership. In other words, helping an individual discover the leader in themselves. God
mm,
said it from the very beginning. He said, have dominion over the earth, over the
yeah,
fish of the air, the fish of the sea, birds of the air, creeping things, all of that. God says, have dominion. He never said have control over each other. He never
come
said have
on.
dominion over each other,
Mm,
over the earth. And
mm,
so, unfortunately, there are too many of us that have come to the place, though, to where we really don't know how to control ourselves. And because we don't know how to control ourselves, also is the reason why we're not being respected as being a leader.
mercy.
So, with my new book, The Ultimate Leader, this is also about the lifestyle leadership example of Jesus,
Come
and
on.
it talks about Jesus and his compassion, it talks about his humility, it talks about his servanthood.
Mm,
Okay, it talks about him and being in control of himself, his intelligence. All of these things are a part of what this book is stating, and so, brothers and sisters, you need to make sure you go on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or anywhere else that books are sold and get this book in your library right away. Get it,
wow.
get it, get it. I'm telling you, I can't tell you this book has been selling like hotcakes. You need to make sure that you get your copy and let this copy light up your household and light up your life by teaching you how to be a leader following the example of the Lord Jesus.
Wow, I so love that, Apostle. I got my copies already, and I'm about to probably do it for our leadership book for our church. I'm trying to tell you straight up.
Amen. Amen.
I'll be talking to you, but
Amen.
but I think
Amen. Works
that's
for
so key
me.
because when people get because if you don't understand what leadership is and all the things that you said, compassion and servant leadership and all those things, when we give it somebody, we ain't got nowhere to take them. And
Right.
then because a woman wants to be led, but if I don't know how to lead, that's going to be automatic frustration.
Yes, sir.
And,
Yes,
and
sir.
so I think that those things are key. The ideal of relationship and leadership. We're definitely gonna have you back on the blueprint because you know me and we can go for a while.
Oh, we can go for a while. We can go for a while, no doubt about it, man.
But I want to thank you. I want to congratulate you on your brand new book, The Ultimate Leader by Gilbert Coleman. I want to celebrate your apostle for the blessing that you are. I also want to give them how to get in contact with you. I think I got the right hashtags on here. Dr. Gilbert Coleman C. Dr. Gilbert
Oh,
C
that's
on
right. That's right.
Instagram,
Right. Uh-huh.
and
On
then Gilbert
Instagram.
Coleman
Yep.
on
I'm
Facebook.
on Facebook. And my website is gilbertcoleman.com.
GilbertColeman.com. I ain't had that one, but I'm gonna put that one up next. All right.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So I'm putting that one up next. But thank you so much, Apostle. Thank you so much. You are a father of father, a pastor of pastor, a leader of leaders, a husband of husbands, and a man of man. I mean that. My life has been transformed and made better just because you're here and because of your love, your leadership, and your life. And I want to thank you also for being a blueprint for me.
Wow. Dave, I tell you, man, it honors me so much. I'm humbled, by your comments, for sure, and I feel like this. I would not want to do life without you and Bern and also the Through the Word family.
Wow, we are humbled and we love you, sir, and appreciate you. Thank you for the day. Thank you for pouring into us. I'm gonna have you back because I had some more questions, but you just
Yeah,
blessed
just
me.
had no time to get to it, but no problem. Let's do it whenever you say. Let's do it.
Thank you so much. This is the blueprint. Listen, we're building men for this generation and for the next one. We're tackling those areas of relationship, finances, leadership, parenting, those areas that we need as men. And we're going to put some things in place to be able to build some things for this generation to be able to stronger for the next one. Thank you so much for the day, Apostle Coleman. I mean that. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for giving us time and thank you for pouring into us on the blueprint. And if you want to follow us on the blueprint, we got a Facebook page that's called the Blueprint. We also have the ideal of another thing we're doing, the ideal setting up for the YouTube channel. You'll get in contact with us without a doubt. Also, you can go to David B. Mills on Facebook. You can also be able to go on the Dr. D. Mills on Instagram, and we'll have that information out for you. But thank you so much for being with us for this inaugural broadcast of the Blueprint. Thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate you, and we'll
Love
see
you.
you
Appreciate
soon.
you, Dave.
Bye
God
bye.
bless you now. All right. Bye bye.